Hello, and thank you for making the time to join us today. As promised, we are beginning a new exciting tax deductible expenses. I promise you learn a few things. So join us today. Today is just an introductory on what you are entitled to claim as a tax deductible expenses. This applies to you whether you are an employee, self-employed, or you are an employer, or you're a consultant. I mean, it applies to everybody. So I hope you will make time to join us. So just bear with me. I'm going to share my screen with you, and then we will go through just the introductory today. Tomorrow we'll look at working from home, what you're entitled to claim. But today is just an introduction. So bear with me. Just bear with me as I share my screen with you. Okay. Just bear with me. Okay. So if we have a look at what is on the screen, I'll just let's look at the video. So the first point is, what are tax deductible expenses? On certain job related expenses known as a tax deductible expense, you can claim tax relief for the amount you have paid out. Yeah. This applies both where you have paid the expenses yourself without any reimbursement. Travel to places, sometimes they go outside UK, they go to Europe, to go and work. And sometimes they have to buy some equipment, buy a laptop, other equipment to help them to do their work. So all these things, this cost, they normally have to bear the cost themselves. And when they come to us, we do a tax return. We take the receipt of all those expenses that they've incurred. And then we claim it for them because they are entitled to claim these expenses. The other thing that we were looking at is that maybe, yes, the other is that your employer reimburses the expense, but you have paid tax on it. Like maybe you've bought something. We are at work and they sent you to go and buy something. You incurred travel costs, or you have to make phone calls, or you did something for the company, and they are reimbursing you through your payroll because they paid you through your payroll. You have paid tax on their money, and because you've paid tax on it, you're entitled to claim tax relief. And mostly what we do is that when people come to us, we ask them to, your employer, if you've paid tax on it, your employer will give you a Form P11D. So when they give us the Form P11D, we do the analysis and then we help them to claim the tax. So bear with me, I'm going to share the points on the screen, just bear with me. Yeah, so what have been discussed, when you look on the screen, I said there are two main points. One is you have paid the expenses yourself without reimbursement. So when that happens, all we ask them is that, look, we give us a list of the things you've bought and the receipts, and then we claim it for you. The other one is that you have your employer, you've incurred their expenses, but your employer has reimbursed you, but they gave it to you, maybe they added it to your pay. That's so you're entitled to claim tax relief on the reimbursement. So that one will take from P11D from them, and then we'll claim the expenses for them. Let's look at, maybe let's go back to the video. Let's see what we've got. Okay, the other thing that we want to look at is meaning of getting tax relief. What do we mean when we say getting tax relief? So getting tax relief is essentially what the tax you normally have paid. You would normally have paid a tax on an item, but that tax is removed. Yeah. this isn't getting an item for free. So when we're giving an example, be going to an example very soon. So the relief is that, okay, because it's work related, you know, you are if you don't incur the cost, you'll not be able to do the work. So it's not fair on HMRC to tax you on that. So because that's why they give you a tax relief. Yeah. And most of the time, I'm doing this video because most people don't know, so they don't claim, and because we do tax planning for people, and most of the time we get people who are really happy because maybe you are entitled to it, but you don't know. And because of that, you don't claim. And ignorance is not an excuse. So I'm confident that as we are doing these short videos, it just creates awareness so that if you're entitled to something, by all means, you claim it. You don't let it go. Yeah, just let's look at the pointers, the summary on the screen. Yeah, when you look on the screen, I said tax relief is tax is a tax to be paid. Maybe you are entitled to you've paid a tax on an item which you shouldn't have. Because of that, the HMRC will give you a relief. And most of the time when we do that, people end up getting tax refund. Yeah, or it's not free, but it's like because you don't know, you don't claim it. That's why we are creating this awareness. I want us to have a look at an example. Yeah, an example. So just bear with me as I share that with you. Okay. So when you look on the screen, let's say if you are a basic rate taxpayer, that is your income is up to 50K. In that case, you pay a tax of 20%. So if you're a basic rate taxpayer, if you and let's say you buy an item, you buy something for your employer and it costs £250, you can claim a £50 tax relief, which is 20% of the £250. And these things, it may look like nothing, but assuming if you incurred £250, or if normally when they come and you add everything together, most of the time people get tax refund, which can make a bit of difference. It's better than not claiming it at all. So that is what we have on the screen. Let me go back to the video and see what we have next. Yeah. We're going to, just bear with me. So we're going to look at the general rule. As a general rule, what you need to abide by when you're claiming tax deductible expense. So as a general rule, you are only allowed to claim costs for items or services you have bought, and the item should be wholly and exclusively in relation to your job. So if you buy an item and let's say you use it partly for your job and partly for private, we do a prorating. We take out the private aspects and then we use the one related to work, for you to do your return to claim a tax relief. Yeah. You can't claim relief on things you have spent money on if your employer has provided you with an alternative. So let's say your employer has given you something, maybe they're giving you a desktop, they come to fix a desktop, or maybe they're giving you a laptop to use at home. So you have a laptop, yeah, from your employer. But then you say, I don't like that laptop. Let me use my own because mine is easier to use. This is because your employer has already given you an alternative. It's unfortunate you cannot claim tax relief because they've already provided, which means you can do the work with what your employer has given you. Yeah. The other one that we want to look at, you also cannot claim tax relief if your employer has already paid back your expenses. So maybe they paid it back to you, here to you personally, without taking it through your payroll, like paying it through your normal payroll. So which means tax was not deducted. So if they pay it directly back to you, then obviously you will not claim tax relief on it. Yeah. Yeah. And let's look at the summary on the screen. I have a few summaries on the screen. So we've gone through the example. Yeah, so that's what we said. We said you are only allowed to claim costs for items or services you have bought. Yeah, and it should be wholly, exclusively for in relation to your work. That is the general rule. Okay. Let's see what we have on the video. Yeah, so that's what we've just discussed, that what you are allowed to claim is what you've incurred wholly and exclusively in relation to your work. So that's what is on the screen. Okay. What I also want to add is that you must keep records of what you have spent, that is receipts, and claim within 4 years of the end of the tax year that you spend the money. So sometimes, as a form of tax planning, if let's say we are in 2021, but let's say the previous tax year, 2019-20, your income was said that you will be a basic rate taxpayer. But in the following year, maybe you have a job coming, especially those agency workers, their income is varies. You know that because of 2020-21, most people, maybe their income may be low because they have not worked that much. But in the following year, the work will be more. So what you could do is that if in this tax year you pay tax on the 20%, you can keep it and then offset it against the period where you would pay tax at 40%. Or sometimes we can amend if within 12 months, and the previous year, if we file within 12 months, and let's say you've just brought your expenses this year, and then the previous year, let's say you're 40%. As long as it's within 12 months, you can amend the tax return and claim the relief so that you can get some kind of a tax refund. Yeah. So this is what we have for you today. Hopefully you make time to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow we are beginning a short video on what you can claim when you work from home. Yeah. So just bear with me as I stop sharing my screen. Thank you once again. Thank you very much for your time, and hope you can join us again tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be very topical because COVID, I know many people are working from home, so don't miss it as we discuss what you are entitled to claim when you work from home. Thank you.